Hey, welcome to the show, Leading and Growing Your Real Estate Business. This is Coach James Short, aka Shorty, and this is a show for those within the real estate industry wanting to lead and grow their real estate business. It's a series of interviews that we conduct for those within the industry. So we're finding out what those leaders are within the industry, what makes them tick, what's their story, what are their strategies, and how to become the leaders and the growers within the industry. But also, it's an interview series with those outside of the industry. I'm always a big believer of looking at a whole different part of the pie rather than just focusing on one part of the pie. Because what it does, it allows you to have a different perspective, allows you to get snippets or golden nuggets from those outside of the industry that can look into the industry and go, there's a different perspective. And so I encourage you to reach out to the guests. I encourage you to lean into these series to find out how can these pieces of information, experiences, stories help you lead and grow your real estate business. And before we get underway with our latest episode, just a little shout out to these amazing crew at Magic Mind. Magic Mind has been it's a productivity hit in the bottle. I've been using these supplementations now for a number of weeks, and the clarity, the focus, and the performance that I've been getting from these nutrients in a bottle. They've got amazing vitamins, amazing minerals. They've got a bunch of mushrooms in there as well. It's a great productivity hack that I've been using every single day. So if you want to try it out, head on over to www.magicmind.com/James Short, and you'll be able to get amazing discounts when you subscribe and when you try the product. And at the checkout, simply add in James Short 20 to get your discount. So head on over, Magic Mind, productivity in a bottle. Oh, I love it. Now, on with the show.
This is great.
Cup of coffee with the man. We're here, buttons undone the whole bit. We're here today with Rami Fahmy from Nsure Insurance, Director, CEO, Mover and Shaker, the risk man himself. It's an honour and privilege. Thanks for the couple. We're in your HQ in Mascot. Hey, where did it all begin? Take me back to those humble beginnings of the business, and let's do a quick little intro of yourself.
Yeah, so it all began, I think, when I was essentially born. My father was an insurance broker. And
Osmosis, isn't it?
It's really like insurance broking is by osmosis. Like, It's very hard to grow up, I think, in a family where there's an insurance broker, and it's very hard to not end up being an insurance broker. There's something about insurance broking being a really intergenerational thing. Which I think is a compliment to the industry.
Totally.
And then I was the antithesis of following in my father's footsteps, as most kids are.
Yep.
And as most kids do, they end up following in their father's footsteps.
Yeah, got it.
And started out in really sales and marketing, selling Yellow Pages advertising, and then eventually making the shift over and working alongside my dad for a period of time.
Yep.
And then working for myself with a potential future acquisition model to acquire my father's business.
Yep.
And give my dad a bit of a retirement exit.
Nice.
And just slowly built the business as we do, one day at a time.
Yep.
Remember, my first goal was to just write one policy every day.
That's right.
Even if it was like a little investment landlord's policy, because they're always easy to come by, and then eventually did that, and then eventually went out on my own, and off we go.
Here we are. So, Nsure today, what does that look like, and who does it serve for what reason? So there's three questions. Who's Nsure today? What does that look like? And who do you serve?
Yeah, so Nsure today is a pioneer in a risk management approach to insurance.
Yep.
I think that it it's always been a vision of ours for Nsure to become the real pioneer in how we integrate risk management into the placement and management of insurance and clients, circumstances.
Yep.
So that means that we lead with risk,
Yep.
and insurance is really a byproduct of a good risk management process.
Yeah, okay.
And so we aim to serve those companies that have become too small to not have any view on risk management.
Yep.
So, i.e., they're now at this point where, by not turning their attention to risk management, it's likely to cost them some significant money.
Yeah. Okay.
But we still serve those businesses where you can get really close to the founders.
Yep.
They're not out of touch.
Yep.
They're still there, but they try to also have an arm's length distance from their executive management team. So, we're typically talking 20 staff or a 5 to 10 person management team structure,
yep.
which generally means, 50 employees is a really good kind of size business.
Yep.
Where we can really make a meaningful difference.
Yeah, nice.
But that's not to say that we don't work for government organisations. We work for some statutory bodies.
Yep.
We work for large sporting organisations where we manage clubs. We do a lot of the risk management at that lower end for those clubs to help support the overall hierarchy of the larger business.
Yep.
But we're also in there with a sole trader, meeting with their lawyer and accountant, helping structure things to really make sure that things work.
Yeah, got it.
And so we're business advisors for risk to clients.
Yeah, right.
It's a great way to see us.
So the business owners or the directors watching this, what is it about risk that over your years of running the business, and you've seen thousands of different businesses and helping them over the time, that's a common aha moment when you're talking to these owners and directors that they weren't aware of around their risk?
Yeah. So risk is money.
Yeah, right.
At the end of the day, we only care about things we lose because they cost us money.
Yep.
And the things that there's things that are obvious that cost you money.
Yep.
That you lost something, and if it was insured, that would be great. But there's also a lot of liabilities that people carry and enter into in contracts that end up biting them, that end up costing them money.
Yeah.
But there's also I think on the flip side of that, once our organisation starts to work closely with clients, you start to renegotiate contracts with the view of how do I negotiate this so that I get more for me,
yep.
and so that it's a win-win, and so that I'm protecting myself from certain situations. So it's, I'm in the process of tendering a number of different software builds for our organisation. And when I look at those contracts, I can look at those and I can go, okay, well, what does the termination provision look like? Gee, this is going to be messy if we terminate mid-phase of a particular build. How do I protect myself so that I'm protected, they're protected? Because at the end of the day, everything boils down to a contract.
Yep.
And we will foresee, we process about 60 claims a month.
Yeah, wow.
So I see a lot more problems than what other people would see.
Exactly.
And so do our team, right? I see a lot more issues. I see the way things are structured, and I think we've become really good at looking at things and going, these are the typical problems that happen. The other thing I think to be aware of is not only do we place sometimes we place the same risk amongst the insurance market every single year for clients because we do reviews,
yep.
we review changes in businesses. So we're doing close to 500 reviews a year multiplied that across a client that's got multiple policies. So we're looking at a particular client, we're looking at their professional indemnity risk, we're looking at their cyber risk.
Yep.
Last year they didn't have a cyber risk, now they do. All of a sudden we go, okay, these types of businesses are exposed in these types of ways. We go and speak to insurers. They say, no, we don't want to take on that risk. We say, why? They say, well, because this, and this is what's going on in the market. And then we go, Mr. Client, how do you protect yourself from this type of risk? So we're on this conveyor belt, two-way conveyor belt of information.
All the time back and forth.
All the time back and forth.
Yeah, wow.
And one of my addictions to systems is the fact that we can record this stuff in such a way that it's linked back to an occupation code.
Yep.
So then when a new client comes in the door, we've got a really good repository of data that can be leveraged across multiple different business types.
Very powerful. Very powerful.
And, you know, like when you think about the fact that, well, like when we do a risk management plan for a client, we sit there and we structure all the worst case scenario things that could happen.
Yep.
And then when we boil that down into what are the controls you've got in place, how are your contracts structured to protect for these types of things, those risk management plans can be adapted and continue to be adapted to various different similar business types in similar industries.
Yep.
So businesses really get a leg up once we start working together when they work with us.
I see, knowing you over the years and watching you think and work, I've never seen anyone like it on how you read a contract or look at a claim or work with a client to take them on the journey to really unpack more about questions. Have you thought about this, or what about this, or what about this? And where you can really articulate that and create a clear vision for your client to then, well, in order to protect your asset, in order to protect your risk, this is what the recommendations and so forth, which has been amazing. Over the years, what have you seen as the trends in relations to risk? And where do you see it going? Hey guys, just a little side note here. How's it going? Are you on track this year? I know that sometimes this part of the year we can feel like we're in a bit of a grind, a bit of in the trenches. Are you on track from the original plans that you set out for the rest of this year? What I've realized is that with this time of year, we get so distracted and we've got trying to chase so many shiny balls and go down so many rabbit holes. And that's why I created a program called the 90. It's a framework that actually allows you to achieve more in 90 days than ever before. Some of the feedback that we've got from some of the people that have used the process, the 90, is that they've achieved more in 90 days than the whole previous year. So if you'd like to have the tools, have the techniques, have the framework on the 90, so you and your team can achieve more in 90 days than ever before. What it does, it impacts you of how to get clear, what you need to do, and who you need to be to show up in order to achieve the things you want to achieve over the next 90 days. Simply head over to jamesshort.com.au, click on join the waitlist, fill in your details, and one of the team members will be in touch and take you through the 90 framework. On with the show.
I think people have become very smart about, hearing and knowing what they're worried about. Like most people I speak to, if I ask them the question, what's the worst thing you could imagine happening to you?
Yep.
Like at the moment, I guarantee you, most people will say a particular client not paying a major bill.
Yep.
There are particular risks that people are concerned about. We read a lot of bad news, so we're always wondering whether it's going to happen to me.
True.
And one of the obvious things is what people always think it's never going to happen to them.
Yep.
But I think that there are the emerging risks at the moment are cybercrime.
Yep.
The emerging risks are the apathy in the workplace market and what that's doing to culture in the workplace, increasing staff costs. There's a lot of pressure on cash flow. So therefore there's a pressure on businesses changing the way they do things.
Yep.
There's always increased pressure in offshoring. There's a lot of competitive pressure.
Yep.
And so I think and that has an on-flow effect. That means people start to lower their prices, people start to get more flexible with their terms. And all of those things
rippling effect,
are
isn't it?
an increasing pressure on risk.
Yep.
So business has never been as risky as it is today.
Wow.
And businesses will continue. Like Like for example, like I went to I did a talk at a cyber conference, and if you take a look at the cost of IT protection across businesses today, it's exponentially increasing.
Really?
Because cybercrime is increasing, so people have to get a lot smarter, and you can no longer rely on.
It's like that, isn't it? It just keeps on going up.
Keeps on going up, right? One of the things I like about risk is that if you invest money in protecting yourself through various different means and mechanisms in avoiding loss scenarios, that will always be a better outcome than you buying insurance.
Yep.
And I always find that people get surprised when I'm trying to talk them out of buying insurance.
Yeah.
Because I'm really pro managing your risks so well, because it naturally puts a downward pressure on your premiums. So premiums become more affordable, you become more certain.
Yep.
And naturally you become more confident, and that confidence brings about new opportunities.
Yeah, okay, right.
So I'm a big believer in you create that energy of possibility and opportunity.
Yep.
And I think risk management has a really nuanced way of creating opportunities for people.
Yeah, fantastic.
We've had a lot of clients that have implemented full risk management plans over the last year.
Yep.
I know some of them that have had people fall through roofs and be captured by harnesses.
Oof.
And then when work cover has come in, they've asked for particular documents that they've been able to produce.
Yep.
And they've just got a massive pat on the back versus getting a massive fine. And I've had some companies that have gone in for government tenders, where the government tenders say, have you got a risk management plan? And they hand it over with massive amounts of confidence, because it opens doors for you when you are a business that has considered risk in a different way.
Yeah, fantastic. So for the viewer listening or watching this and thinking, oh my gosh, like this is overwhelming, where do I start? What's the next step? What would you recommend for them to do so they're on top of their risk?
Well, the easy
give you a call.
But I'd say the most easiest step is to look at your terms and conditions.
Yep. Okay.
And so that means if you don't have any, get some.
Yep.
And naturally, what that's going to do is help you align where your parameters are on what you're willing to accept, what you're not willing to accept, what are your payment terms, who owns the IP, what sort of confidential information. What it does is it opens up a bit of a box of goodies.
Yep.
That help you start to form where your boundaries are.
Okay.
Maybe you look at some competitors' terms. Maybe you kind of see where you're different.
Yep.
So it helps you really differentiate yourself in that regard. And I always find terms and conditions are a great place to start. And then I always think, I mean, if you're really, really super interested in knowing where you stand from a risk perspective, just pick up your insurance policy and look at the exclusions there, and you'll be really surprised at how many things are excluded.
Yep.
And what that and then I think the next step is to understand what that means for you as a business.
Yep.
You speak to somebody who's really technically tuned to risk the way we are.
Yep.
And we're huge advocates of the broking industry, so if you've got a broker and they're fantastic, go back to them, ask them to walk you through it, and ask them to help you understand how you can protect yourself from particular exposures that you're worried about.
Fantastic. What's on the horizon? What are the future plans? What do you got coming up?
At the moment we're really pro business, pro culture. I really want to focus our effort here on culture. I think we've got a very we have to be really careful as a business. We can't grow too quickly.
Yes.
We've kind of got to really invest in internal knowledge, internal systems, looking after our clients, and making sure that we continue to adapt with their changing needs. And because clients' needs will change often through a policy period. So we want to kind of be close to there. We want to kind of continue growing the team. We're doing a lot. We have, because of our approach to business, we've built a lot of unique products.
Yep.
That are very unique to market, and because of our investment in tech and because of our investment in offshore teams, I think we've built a really scalable business model. So we are really exciting to be on an acquisition journey, a growth journey, a people journey, And I honestly think that that's going to be the next 2 to 3 years for us. It was just really focusing on that.
Fantastic. So on the show, we have our 60-second quick quiz to find out a little bit more about you personally. You willing to play? Bring it on, he says, as he has a cuppa.
Yes.
All right, cool. Here we go. Favorite movie?
Glengarry Glen Ross.
Love it.
Yeah.
ABC. All right, cool. Favorite food?
Italian.
Okay, good. Favorite holiday destination?
Italy.
Nice. What's your morning routine?
4:34. I get up. I normally sit on a really hard baseball and loosen up my body to slowly wind me into getting some exercise done in the morning. Like to be finished by 6. Like to get in the office or get started at work. Like to be there when my daughter wakes up. Like to just come in and get started on the day and get home for 4 for when she wakes up for her second waking period. And yeah, man.
What's your evening routine?
Evening routine. Helping out around the house, I think, is big. Love to spend some time with my wife after our daughter goes down, and love to get to bed by 9 so we can get back up and get back at it.
I love it. Do you have a most embarrassing moment?
For sure. Lots. Oh man. I can't really think of one right now. I can't really think of one. I mean, the one that comes to mind is splitting your suit pants when you're at an appointment. Like, you don't want to be doing that. And, I hate, like, as much as I like wearing suits, they don't fit me very well. A little gifted in many places. So, but, I can't.
We'll leave that. We'll call that one. If you could choose 5 inspirational people to have dinner with, they could be dead or alive.
Yep.
Who would they be?
Tiger Woods.
Yep.
Michael Jordan.
Yep.
Warren Buffett.
Yep.
Ronnie Dahl.
Okay.
From Four Wheeling, Western Australia.
Should see his 4-wheel drive. It is like, yep.
And it would be that young person that sailed around the globe on her own in
Jessica Watson.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
If you were Prime Minister for the day, what's one thing that you would change?
The cost of water.
Cost of water?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it's criminal that Easy Mart charges $4.
55. I bought one of this morning.
It's the only country in the world that can get away with that.
Totally.
And that's the first thing I'd make that illegal.
Nice. Best piece of advice?
Play the long game. Play the long game.
Nice.
Yeah.
And where can the audience get in touch? How can they follow your journey? How can they reach out? Where's the best place to go?
The best way to get in touch with me is to probably call the team at Nsure. I'm learning. No, but
it's been a while. It's a work in progress.
Yeah, but no, you can contact me. You can contact me on any LinkedIn.
Yeah.
call me in the office. I am contactable.
Yeah.
I'm not unreachable. I still
Totally.
love to go out and see clients. I still love to be close to the action. I still love to be there to help people through claims. So I love what I do. So I'm there.
Totally. I just want to acknowledge you and thank you. Like, known you for, gosh, over 15 years now, I think.
Wow.
And we've done lots of work together. But on a personal note, thank you for looking after all my risk.
Oh.
Thank you for looking after then the family and the family risk. But more importantly, just you as a person. Like, how you've helped so many people in our network, in our environment. It's been truly amazing. So, mate, thank you very much.
Thank you. My pleasure.
And thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for your support.